Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks again for this very valuable committee hearing. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your service, not only in this capacity, but in your prior roles, especially with the Navy. We share that background and really appreciate your service. I just want to make a few comments and kind of get your take on things. These numbers are big, right? These budgets that we're talking about are large. I think we've become a little numb to units of dollars that start with T's because of how many packages that start with trillion dollars of funding behind them we've had in the last year as a result of the pandemic and our investment decisions. I'll go on mute here a second. And I just want to make sure that while we're looking at not only this annual budget, but also the Jobs Act, that we're doing so still through a disciplined lens and a paradigm that treats every dollar as a precious asset. I want to associate myself with the comments made by Ranking Member Diaz-Balart in that regard. My hope is that, while we aspire to fund programs that create jobs, and that's the name of this larger package, that we're not only creating jobs, but we're also solving problems and bringing value to our communities relative to transportation. And I know a lot of what we've been saying here is consistent with that. But within that conversation, there's going to be programs that we should not be funding, right? There's programs that either way behind schedule, that are hemorrhaging with massive overruns, that have little or no meaningful value to the transportation and infrastructure, to our grids, to decompressing traffic in our local areas. I come from California. I come from Southern California, where we have nightmare traffic. It's the blueprint for disaster on our freeways. So when we make these trades and these investment decisions, regardless of how much money we have, there are still programs that don't make sense. And in California, we do have an ongoing high-speed rail project. This project is now over a decade behind. It was supposed to be done by 2020. It's really just now beginning. It's way over budget. It was supposed to be $33 billion, and it's now looking to be about $100 billion, which is effectively about 20% of what the transportation elements of the Jobs Act will be, right? That's a lot of money. And it's still not a necessary means of transportation through California when we have alternative rail. We have Metro links rail that just needs to be expanded and improved upon. We have highways that need to be expanded and improved upon. And in this case, the name high-speed rail is not fitting. It's not high-speed in terms of programmatics or schedule or budget, and it's certainly not high-speed in terms of velocity down the rail. And similar to what Representative Clark mentioned, this is going to go fast for only short periods of time. So I guess what I'm asking then is the administration and your department looking at all of the things that we're looking to improve, but also objectively looking at things that don't deserve to be funded? And where is specifically the administration and the DOT relative to California's high-speed rail?
Thank you for the question. It's very important for us that even or especially when you're talking about a big number, like some of the numbers involved in the jobs plan, that every penny of that is being well targeted, well used, and well accounted for. Now, with regard to the California high-speed rail project, as you likely know, some of that is subject to litigation that constrains what I can talk about on the spot. But I do want to acknowledge that there's a real desire to make sure that we have alternatives in this country, in addition to being able to fortify what we've had. For example, you mentioned the issues of traffic that are endemic to Southern California, but a lot of other places too. And so when we have a highway spending pattern that maybe in the past assumed mistakenly that if you add a lane, that'll always lead to a reduction in congestion, we've learned that sometimes that's true, and sometimes the reverse is actually true. You just get more drivers. That we need to reassess everything we've done constantly, continually improve our work and continually challenge our old assumptions. But I would argue that making sure Americans have access to great rail, making sure, of course, that it's done well and effectively and efficiently, is part of the solution to things like highway conditions, where it turns out doubling the highway just means you double the traffic. And so having targeted smart solutions, I think, is the best way forward. And it goes to the ranking member's comments too about making sure that that everything we do pays attention to what the local communities are asking for to begin with, because often they know best.
Absolutely. Well said. I agree with that. I think the implementation and where the dollars go will be a testimony to that, hopefully. The improvement of our local Metro Link stations and rail in Southern California area, and investing in programs like what we call SCORE is hopefully the complementary rail answer to the highway improvements that we desperately need. I will go on the record as high-speed rail in California will not help our traffic problems, not in Southern California, Northern California, and certainly not in Central California. I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.